Now, if I want to learn more about the voting process, or how my vote is counted, where can I go to get that information?
Here at the election board, we have election board meetings, and for these busy elections, we have at least two a week, because we've already had two board meetings for this election this week, because we've received in a lot of ballots already. At this board meeting, they are open to the public. We post our agenda and our meeting schedule on our website. That's clevelandcountyelectionboard.com, or you can call up here and ask when the next board meeting is. We have those board meetings, and that is where, if the ballots have been received and they're scanned in, there's a barcode you'll notice on your envelope. We scan it in. That's when we say we've received your ballot. That's when you get that information on the Oklahoma voter portal. Then they are locked up. As soon as they come in, as soon as we have them processed, then they are locked up. At the next board meeting, then that big, very large container with 3 padlocks on it is taken into the board meeting, opened with the keys from our 3 board members. So we can only open those containers in a board meeting with all 3 of our board members present. We open that container, all of those envelopes are taken out. We run it through our automatic opener, and just let you know, there's 3 openings that go on. So if there's a lot of ballots, it can be a very long meeting. It can be maybe boring for you, but we would love for you to come and watch us do that. We open the absentee ballots. Our board members then each go through each one of them and make sure that after we've opened it, they're pulling out the affidavit. The first thing they're looking for, a signature. They're looking for that voter's signature on the affidavit. That's the first thing you want to do. Then they're looking to see if your affidavit required a notary, or did your affidavit require 2 witnesses to your signature. If those are not present, then they would look for a photo ID. And that's only because of this emergency that's been declared by Governor Stitt during this time as an emergency, that people aren't wanting to get out and get to notaries, etc. So at this time, they're looking for your photo ID. If that is found and it's deemed valid, it's not expired. So please don't send in an expired one. You can do that by not sending in your voter. You can send in your voter ID, and it never expires. So send in your voter ID, a copy of your photo ID, or a valid Oklahoma driver's license. We see that, then that goes into the yes pile. If it did not have a notary or 2 witnesses to your signature, or the photo ID, or the signature, that goes into the rejection pile. So the ones that have been accepted then go for the second opening. They open the affidavit, and in that affidavit envelope, we will separate the ballot envelope from the affidavit envelope. So they've been approved, they've been accepted. We want to separate your identity from that ballot. It keeps your vote secret. So then the third opening, the ballot envelope is opened and the ballots are removed. And we flatten them out and we run them through a high-speed scanner. Those are scanned in with me dizzily watching them scan through very fast to make sure that we don't have any folds or everything looks clear. Now, when I say I'm scanning those ballots in, they go onto a USB drive. We call it an MBB. That's our mobile ballot box. It's exactly what would read your ballot if you were scanning it in at your polling place. We see no numbers. All I see is how many ballots were scanned and how many batches I put those in. I see no tallies. I have no idea who's voted for who or how many's voted for anyone. That MBB and those paper ballots are then, the sheriff comes to the close of our meeting with them still present, the board members still present, and they take that away to be secured. Then those are all brought back to us from our 11 board meetings. And so all of those packages, transfer cases of ballots and our secured MBBs all come back to us at 5 o'clock on election day. Then after the polls close at 7 o'clock, then we take those MBBs and they're plugged in and they're read and tallied. that information goes straight to the state election board, and then it's read and dispersed then to us here in the county. That's when we start putting out the numbers. And that's why you will always see first absentee by mail and absentee in person or early voting. Those are the first numbers that come across. You are the first votes that are counted. So I want you to always be assured that your vote is counting. So yes, absentees are read first. And then as each polling place brings in their mobile ballot boxes or their MBBs, we will read them as they come in, each of them, securing the paper ballots and reading the MBB. So, and then those ballots are secured. They're kept secure until after the election and everything is settled down and we've confirmed the vote on that Friday following. And unless a judge is requested, and if a judge requests those ballots, then we have to go to the sheriff to bring them in. We do not have the ballots. So that's how it goes. And again, if you were one of the few rejections, because we really have very few rejections, we will rank usually below the state average of, and that can change with each election, but the state average has been running about 3.5% rejection on your absentee ballots. Those ballots that are rejected, they're rejected because you didn't include your signature, you didn't have a notary, or you didn't include a photo ID, or you didn't even return the affidavit. I mean, that can be one of the reasons for rejection. But half of our rejections will be because that ballot came in the day after the election or 2 days after the election. So please know that if you get your ballot here the day of election, by that day, then most likely it's going to count.
Great, great. That's really good to know. Is there any other information we should be aware of going into the election?
Just know that this emergency is still on. We always have a need for precinct officials, but just to know that we may have a lot of new precinct officials if you're voting at your polling place. Just be mindful of that. They're learning, so it does slow the process down. The social distancing slows the process down, but we want you to have that opportunity to come to your polling place. Again, though, if you can't stand long, if you can't come into the polling place, you really need to seek out absentee by mail or even absentee in person or early voting.
Great, great. Thank you so much.